A teacher, Dorothy Height, observed that without community service, we would not have a strong quality of life. And tonight, we honor all the heroes who have improved our lives. Some are well known and heralded, some remain unsung. Winston Churchill said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." We, the Manchester Select Board, on behalf of the citizens of Manchester, are happy to announce that from many worthy nominees, one has been selected as this year's honoree. He is David Cannell.
I wanted to ask you about the Unsung Hero Award, and which is given out for community service. What motivated you years back to kind of be involved in community service work, whether it was the Rotary Club or the Rec Park or the library, whatever might have been the organization you were trying to help? But what was the inspiration for that?
Well, I think probably you just really overhauled that whole thing, as I think I'd been here for a lot of years and just realized what a wonderful community that I lived in and my children have grown up in, and gone to some great schools and done some programs and played a lot of sports, and maybe just my time to take a shift here and there and get involved. And I think once that I did get involved, it just became very interesting to me, became a big part of my life, with just spending time with people that are interacting part of this community. And to be a part of that community is good enough for me. But it was an opportunity to give back for all that it's given me.
Was there one of those things that you did that was more interesting than any of the others, or it really stands at the top as you look back and think about, wow, that was really, the best part?
I think you caught me off guard with that one. But, I don't think so. I think you just, from the time that you get started, the first thing I really got involved with Rotary was that old-fashioned Fourth, which was just, as you remember, the biggest thing in town for many, many years, and just all of this whole community pitching in and doing that. So that certainly was a good start and excitement to things. But I think time after time, it's just one more thing pitching in. But the biggest thing is you're just looking around at people that are just having a good time. They're all smiles, happy to do that. No one's grumbling or complaining or how come I've got to do this. I mean, there's a very genuine roll up your sleeves, pitch in and do the job and be a part of that.
And help park the cars.
Yeah, exactly. I've done that too.
Right. So I was wondering, do you think that today folks are as motivated to be involved in community service work as may have been the case 20, 30 years ago? I mean, I guess it's a case where for a lot of folks, both parents are working, probably free time is kind of at a minimum. Maybe it's harder to kind of do some of that stuff that people might want to do, they just don't have the time for it. But do you think that there's that same kind of, ethic about community service that you recall seeing 20, 30 or so years ago?
I think the answer is yes. I mean, there's just, I think we just did it. We just took on another shift, decided that even though at the end of your work or the end of your day or something, you just found time, you just did it, even though I think we were just as busy with our growing families and just as busy with our businesses. We just seemed to be able to take a shift. And I think you'll find that as you look at our boards, and a lot of them got some gray hairs on them, and one of the things, I'm on a couple of boards now, and the very first question that I always ask or insist on, I'm not going to take that seat if a younger person could have that seat. But I think that that's why there are so many of us gray hairs on there, is because the challenges of raising the family and their business and just running out of time, I think the younger people are just maybe a little less determined than we were. Mm-hmm. I just think we did it because it was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now you're also launching into a whole nother career this phase of the season here, between your 251 quest of visiting every town in Vermont, to all 251 of them. So I wanted to ask you about that, and also I guess you're writing about it. Mm-hmm. You're going to put out a book, Grandpa's Memories, or something like that. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's true. I think somewhere along the way, I guess we reinvent ourselves, and I decided a few years I tried a lot of things. Why not be an author? And,
sure.
It's been a lot of fun. As you know, I've published one book and had great fun, and it connected me to a lot of classmates and friends in schools I hadn't heard from years. So is with my quest of things and all things Vermont, as you know, I've hiked the length of Vermont, I've biked the length of Vermont, took my grandsons to all the towns of Vermont, and decided, that was so much fun, why don't I do it on a bike and write my stories about it? Because Every town in Vermont is unique. There's a whole bunch of interesting things everywhere you go. You're surprised to find about our rich heritage and history in inventors, and just some very neat things are going on. I think, quite frankly, if you Google Pittsford, Vermont, and wanted to know about, I can't think of the guy's name, maybe you can help me with this, but the very first U.S. patent was issued in Pittsfield, Vermont. Pittsford, Vermont. And if you Google it and look it up, you will, and it's signed by George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and I think Randolph. And if you look at that picture, it's like it starts with an XX, a half a dozen zeros, and it gets to 1. That was a patent. Oh, I wish I could think of his name. But anyway,
I'm not being much help to you
it's
either.
about anyway. It's about the process of lye soap.
Right.
Okay. But the very first patent in the U.S. was issued to a Vermonter.
Okay. Well, Dave, thanks an awful lot for stopping by and telling us a little bit about, all that important public service work that you've done over the years, and finally getting justifiably rewarded for it with the Unsung Hero Award this year. It's a great honor, and thanks again. And I don't think you're done yet either.
I hope not.
All right.